is there any questions from the audience or anything in the chat room, Monica, which you feel I could potentially ask or answer? And just whilst we're doing that, I'm going to obviously thank Valdo for providing some information. He is the project manager for the women's cricket. If you would like to get in touch with him, whether you want to take up the sport, whether you want more information around the funding of getting a women's cricket section set up, or how you can get more involved to develop the game across Sweden.
Yes, could you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yes, on very similar lines to what Lund Cricket Club. I didn't want to waste time, but if you're having this discussion about lack of sanitation, hygiene, and stuff, I would be interested to be part of the discussion and understand the solutions and not ponder on it. So I would
Brilliant.
be really interested to talk about what is a solution that we can come up. Not a temporary fix, but we need some permanent fixes, because we've been running. We are new. We have a women team for the last 2 years. I'm one of the coaches, and I have these challenges like Lund Cricket Club. So we have players turning up for the practice sessions, but we don't have a changing facility in Stockholm in the grounds. Though theoretically, yes, we do have them, but getting access to that is it's near to difficult. So I would like to discuss about this from Stockholm. So just loop me in the discussion.
Okay, brilliant, excellent. So it almost seems like the question around facility access is quite crucial. Some other clubs have it really, quite easy. There obviously is a challenge in certain parts. But one that we need to address if we're going to continue our girls playing cricket. And this is really valuable for me to know, and obviously Federation to address moving forward. So I will definitely loop you into that conversation. Thank you.
Shankar?
Yeah, hi. I'm speaking on behalf of Gothenburg Cricket Club, and one of the problems we face is we have a lot of new young girls from school willing to try and want to test us before they start serious or give up. And the problem is they don't have kit, and they do not want to invest on it yet, because they're not sure if they want to play forever. So is there a plan from SCF to give kits to the club for the women? Because this is a problem, and we don't have enough kits, and we always use what was thrown away by men, and that is too big for us, even for the grown-up women.
Yeah. Excellent question, and I'm sure you're not the only ones who are having the same issue, but excellent question. And I wouldn't want to be wearing, leftover kit or handed over kit from the men, because it's not in a safe environment. It's not actually what you want from young girls because of the weight, the size. It kind of takes the fun element away and the coaching points away, and it becomes harder to sort of actually play good quality cricket. The point around can SCF support that? Let me take this up with Monica. And the Federation. I'm pretty sure there is support that we can provide, and there should be some support. I'm pretty sure that from a girl's perspective, from a kit perspective, there are opportunities to get kit involved. It's an expensive sport, but we also need to make sure that the girls are ready to take that step, and there needs to be almost an intermediate between the two sections to try and get them to sort of invest in the kit. There are certain strategies involved to sort of allow girls to test it, play it, and then invest in it. So can I take this opportunity to speak to you offline about this, because I think this is an area that we need to sort of address and give you some support with, and how to signpost you in the right direction. Is that okay?
Sorry, I was speaking in mute. Perfect, thank you.
Okay, no problem. We've all done that. Don't worry. An area where we've obviously got questions again for myself. It's key that we understand this notion of slides that I've presented, because that unfortunately is the reality of that's happening at the national level. We've got a lot of individual girls who have great skill, great quality, but we need to sort of really focus on driving that home with a view of trying to compete for the qualifiers. And we can only do that if we are developing our girls at local, domestic level, at clubs, in order to get them ready for national team. What we don't want to be doing at the national team is doing what the clubs should be doing, and that's developing their skills. They should be developing their skills at club cricket with a view of stepping up and even focusing on more challenge, with a view of moving away from the basic skills. And often what we see is the girls who are progressing up, there is a big gap between basic skills and advanced skills in order to compete. And for international cricket, we need advanced skills to compete. And this is an area where I would humbly request everybody, especially if you're at a club and you're in charge or you're a coach, is to really focus on developing the basic skills for the girls and increasing that as much as possible, because this is an area where we don't have a lot of time to develop our quality of cricket for the qualifiers, so time is of an essence. So I would really appreciate if the coaches could focus on that from a club perspective, and individual players take some ownership on developing that away from the national team, because that is where we really would need to focus on the high intensity stuff, and sometimes we can't. So hopefully that ends my presentation. There is a chance for questions. I'm happy to take questions on here, or I'm happy to take questions on email as well. If there is somebody who wants to sort of ask a question on email, if you feel that this is not the platform, I'm happy to work with coaches to reinforce some of the key messages that have gone today. And most importantly, I'm happy to speak to any girl, any female, any young player, any athlete who wants to take up cricket and feels that they could potentially compete for the national team or our development structure or in our pathway. So please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Kasim. There has been a bit of interaction in the chat, which I will share with you. First of all, we have to just address the fact that we had a typo on one of the slides where we were missing a name in the development squad. Player Harir Shamto from Lund was actually selected on the development squad earlier this fall and was presented as such, but we had missed it in the presentation. So we just agreed about that it was a typo in the chat group. So I'm just saying it out loud just for everybody to know. And then I got a comment from Amit about the need for access documentation for easy primer and introduction to the game for everybody, and that this presentation would also be, it would be very beneficial if we can also send it out in Swedish as well as English to attract locals. Yep. So we made the promise that it's a very valid point. So I said that we will make sure to do that. So just you and I remind ourselves to make sure about that. And then you have received a question about, I think when you had the schedule up, the slide with the different activities going on throughout the months in spring and summer, Fatima had a question about any dates on when pre-season starts.
Yeah, pre-season schedule is being put into place at the moment. I will get out all that information to the national squads in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully you will have that as soon as possible, as soon as that's confirmed.
Okay, good. And let's say that we have been working in office with our yearly calendar and timeline that as soon as we feel that it's really complete, we will happily publish that so everybody can see the different activities going on throughout the year, both in terms of activities for the national teams and development teams, but also league and formal meetings and other webinars and education, different courses and everything, what have you. We want everybody to know well ahead of time, so it makes for easier planning for everybody to participate. So that will happen also within short.